Welcome to Math Quest with Mr. Bowie. If you're new here, remember to like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I upload new videos. During this video, we'll be focusing on the algebra section questions from previous past paper questions. So let's begin. As usual, ensure you have your book, pen, pencil, and for algebra, you may rarely use your calculator. All right, so the first one we have here says simplify, we got x cubed raised to the second power. So here we have a power raised to a power, and once we have a power raised to a power, we multiply the powers. So it's going to be x cubed 3 times 2. So this is just x to the 6th power. And the second part, we are dividing. So we have y to the 8 divided by y to the negative fifth power. And once we're dividing and the bases are the same, we subtract the powers. So we're going to have y to the 8 minus the negative 5. Therefore, we're going to have y to the 13 here. Then the second question, part B, says factorize x y minus y squared. When we're factorizing, we're basically dividing. So we're seeing what's the common factor, highest common factor for both of these terms. In this case, it's y. So we're going to have y. So we're basically saying xy divided by y. This is just an extra step for persons who just don't know how to do it. So I'm just putting all the steps on y squared divided by y, close bracket. So now we're going to have y. In the first term, y's will cancel, so we're just going to be left with the x. And then y squared is y times y, so it means we have two y's there. One will cancel remaining, leaving the other. So therefore, that's us factorizing x. Then next part. So now next question, this is the difference of two squares. So we have x squared minus y squared. So the difference of two squares is going to give us x minus y times x plus y. Oops. That's x plus y. That's just our answer right there. So this is just a rule that we have to remember. Difference of two squares, a squared minus b squared, is just going to give us a minus b times a plus b. That's just the rule. Now it says hence simplify the expression. So what is happening here, it wants us to combine. So first the factor part here, and then we factorize the second one here, and the final question is a combination of both of those. So let's go. So we already factorized the numerator, and when we did so, we got y times x minus y. We'll factor the numerator, we got x minus y times x plus y. So now to simplify, since there's a product in our numerator and there's also a product in our denominator, we can cancel common factors. In this case, x minus y is a common factor. So our final answer is going to be y divided by x plus y. Let's can write it a little better. Let's be y x plus y. There we go. Now, next question. This one says the diagram below shows two rectangles, m and n, with their dimensions expressed in terms of n. So first rectangle here, m, and we can have this shorter side would be the width, and longer side would be the length. Same here, shorter side width, longer side length. So we can express there. Now it says given the difference between the areas of the two rectangles is 64 centimeters squared, show that x squared minus 2x minus 35 is equal to 0. So once it says show that, it means that we're supposed to prove we're expected to arrive at this conclusion once we do the calculation. The first part of this sentence says the difference between the areas of the two rectangles, and difference means we're subtracting. When we look, m seems to be the larger rectangle and n is a smaller rectangle, so we're going to start by writing the difference, which is say area minus the area of n should equal 64. That's what the sentence is saying. The difference between the area should equal 64. Now to find the area of m, length times width. So the length is 3x plus 4 times the width, which is x minus 3. Then we're going to minus, let me put a bracket over here for this. And what we're minusing is length times width of the next one. So is x plus 2 times x minus 3. That's going to equal 64. Let me close this bracket here. Now, the reason I have this bracket, the red one, is because once we're subtracting, we want to simplify what's on the area of n first, and then we subtract it. If I don't have it in a bracket, then the subtraction sign will not be activated. It will only activate on the x term and not all the terms that should be subtracting. So let's expand using our FOIL method. So what we're going to be doing is using the 3x to multiply both the x here and minus 3, and then use the 4 to multiply both x and also the minus 3. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So let's go. So 3x times x gives us 3x squared. And then 3x times minus 3 gives us minus 9x. Finish with that. Now we go to 4 times x, 4x. 4 times minus 3 is minus 12. Bring up minus here. And keep a correct bracket. Now, same thing. X times x is x squared. X times minus 3 is minus 3x. Then 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Still here equals 64. Close my curly bracket here. Now we're just going to simplify. So this is going to give us 3x squared minus 5x minus 12 minus in bracket here. So it's going to be x squared minus x minus 6 close equals 64. Now we can subtract. So we can subtract like terms. We can even group them. In this case, let's group them. So 3x squared gonna be minus x squared. Bring back a minus 5x. Now it's gonna be minus negative x. Then bring back a minus 12 minus negative 6 equals 64. So I'm showing almost all the steps. 3x squared minus x squared, that's going to give us 2x squared. And minus 5x minus negative x, 2 negative right here is going to be positive. So it's basically going to be minus 5x plus x, which is minus 4x. And minus 12 minus negative 6, same thing here, going to become positive. So it's going to become minus 12 plus 6, which is minus 6. And as we see here, we need all of our terms to be on our left hand side. So we're going to bring over the 64. It's going to be negative 64 is equal to 0. And let's continue. And we simplify one step further. We're going to get 2x squared minus 4x minus 70 is equal to 0. However, we haven't reached our goal, which is to have x squared minus 2x minus 35 equals 0. When we reach a situation like this, we'll look and see the difference between what we currently have and what we're expected to have. And the difference here is a multiple of 2. So we can divide through by 2. So let's do that. Which is going to leave us with x squared minus 2x minus 35 is equal to 0. And we have proven it. So there we are. So next question. This one says, factorize completely the following quadratic expression. So now when it's factorizing the quadratic expression, we can use the AC method. We know that a quadratic expression is of the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. We can use completing the square to factorize it. We can use several methods to factorize it, but we're going to use the AC method here, where we multiply a and c. So in this case, a would have been 5, b would have been -9, c would have been 4. So a times c here, ac, is going to be 5 times 4, which is 20. So we need factors, pairs of factors of 20, that when we add them, we get -9. So 5 times 4 is right. When we add 5 times 4, we get +9, but we need -9. So let's think of other factors that we can go to factorize it. So we can use 2 times 10. That's not going to give us -9. And if we try 5 4 is 20, yeah, so not a factor. 2 times 10, 4 times. Oh, yes. All we have to do here is make both of these negative. So since all we have to do is -5 times -4, it's going to give us +20. But when we add -5 plus -4, we're going to get -9. So we're going to add the variables now. So it's going to be -5x minus 4x, which is -9x. So we're going to replace this right here, where we see -9x right there. So for this one, is a trial and error. As you see, I tried when I got the 5 times 4, this gives us a +9, and I wanted -9, which I should have just reverted to just realizing that it's both negative. Data comes same time for me, may not come same time for you as well. But what I did was move to find another factor, like 2 times 10, but there are no other factors that's going to really give me to 20 except 1 times 20. So I revert back to my original one, and like factors are also positive and negative numbers. So we have to, at this stage, when you're thinking of factors, don't only stay with the positive, but also remember there are negative factors of a number as well. So we can just separate that part. And now we're going to have 5x squared. Substitute them now. Minus 5x minus 4x plus 4. And then we factorize by grouping. For the first side, we can factorize using 5x. That's our highest common factor. Now, if we divide by 5x, 5 into 5 cancel. X into x squared gonna leave us with one of the x's, because there are two x's there. Minus 5 into 5 again cancel, and x into x. 5 into 5, 5x into 5x goes one time. Now here, what we're going to factor into both of these, we're going to factor -4. Why -4? Well, if we factor -4, -4 into -4 is just going to give us -4 into -4 is going to give us a positive, which we need a positive x, and -4 into +4 is going to give us negative, and we also need a negative sign here. So let's use -4. So -4 into -4x is going to give us positive x, and -4 divided into +4 is going to give us -1. So both of brackets are identical at this point, and the moment our brackets are identical, we keep, basically at this point we're factorizing again. That's what we're doing. So we're saying both of these we can factor using x minus 1. So we're saying x minus 1 is a common factor, and over here x minus 1 cancel, leave us with 5x, and over here is going to leave us with -4, and this is our final answer. Now it says hence solve the equation. So it's the same thing, so we just equated on brackets now to 0. So we're going to have x minus 1 times 5x minus 4 all equal to 0, and then we do it individually. X minus 1 to 0, therefore x is equal to 1, and 5x minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides, so we're going to have 5x is equal to 4. Divide both sides by 5, and we have x is equal to 4/5, or 0.8, and that's our answer. Okay, so Let's work on this questions. Make the v the subject of the formula. So it's w equal 5 plus v divided by v minus 3. So when we want a variable to be the subject of our formula, we need that variable to be on one side by itself, preferably the left hand side. It doesn't really matter, but we tends to read from left to right, so that's why. So here we have v as well in the numerator and denominator. So best to get rid of the denominator, and by doing so we need to multiply in this case. So let's start by multiplying both sides by v minus 3. Since it's not a one term we're multiplying by, it's best to put it in, group it inside of a bracket. So now on my right hand side, v minus 3 is going to cancel each other and leave with 5 plus v. On my left hand side, I have a product, so I can expand right here. V times w, that's wv. We can put vw. And minus 3 times w is minus 3w. Now we can group the like terms, so we can have vw. Not group the v's together. So we got vw minus v, because we bring over the positive v becomes negative, is equal to 5. If we bring over the minus 3w, it's going to be positive 3w. Now we can factor out v, since we have v in both terms here. So v into vw is going to leave us with w. V into minus v is going to be minus 1. Over here, it's going to be 5 plus 3w. Now, to get v by itself, we divide both sides by w minus 1. And our final answer is going to be v is equal to 5 plus 3w divided by w minus 1. Okay. And here's the next problem. Hold on. Sorry. Right there. Just trying to. Awesome. Now the height h of an object is directly proportional to the square root of its perimeter p. Write an equation showing the relationship between h and p. So directly proportional means as one quantity increase, so does the other, and as one decrease, so does the other. So both are moving in the same direction at the same time by the same rate. So height h is directly proportional to the square root of the perimeter p. Now, if we turn it off in the equation, there's going to be a constant of proportionality, which you normally use k to represent it. There's going to be h is equal to k times square root of p, and that's our equation. Then here it says, given that h is equal to 5.4, when p is equal to 1.44, determine the value of h when p is equal to 2.89. So they're giving us h and p because they need us to use it to find the constant k. So first we need to find k. So we're going to have 5.4 is equal to k times the square root of 1.44, which k is basically going to equal to 5.4 divided by the square root of 1.44 is equal to k. Why I divide both sides by square root of 1.44, because I need to have k by itself, so I'm showing it right here. Need to get k by itself, so I'm going to have k by itself now. So I get my calculator. So here's the first time we're using a calculator so far. 5.4 divided by the square root of 1.44, and that's 4.5. So k is 4.5. So we can say, therefore, the formula is now h is equal to 4.5 times the square root of p. And they want us to find h when p is 2.89, so therefore that's just going to be 4.5 times the square root of 2.89, which is, with a calculator, times square root 2.89 is 7.65. 7.65. And that's our value. Okay, next question is here. It says two quantities n and t are related as follows. N equal the square root of t. Find the value of n when t equal 49. All we're doing here is just substituting. So we've got n is equal to the square root of 49, which is 7. So it's actually square root of 49 is positive or minus 7 to be exact. So we tend to normally put the positive value, which is actually both of them, and say make t the subject of the formula. Again, we're trying to make t by itself, so we're eliminating everything around it. The only thing affecting it in this situation is the square root, and the opposite of the square root is the square. So first write back both of them, and then we're going to square both sides to get rid of the square root. So we're going to have n squared is equal to t, and now t is the subject. We can switch it and put t equal n squared. It's all up to you. Awesome. Now here it says Ali is X years, Jim is 5 years older than Ali, and Chris is twice as old as Ali. Write expressions in terms of X for Jim's age and Chris's age. So first, Jim's age. Now we know Jim is 5 years older than Ali, and Ali is X, so Jim would be X plus 5 years old. Chris is twice as old as Ali, so Chris is 2x years old. Now his next part says in 2 years time, and this is bold, so we need to focus on it. The product of Ali's age and Chris's age will be the same as the square of Jim's present age. All right, show that the equation x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0 represents the information given above. Again, they're telling us that when we do this situation, we do the operation and simplify. This is what we're supposed to get. This is the equation we're expected to get. If we don't get it, then we would have done something wrong. So it says in 2 years times the product of Ali's age. In 2 years times, the age is gonna change. Everyone's age is gonna increase by 2. So in 2 years time, the product of Ali's age and Chris' age will be the same. So in 2 years time, Ali would be x plus 2. So she would be x plus 2 in 2 years time. And it says the product, so we're gonna put it in a bracket, times Chris's age now. In 2 years time, Chris is gonna be 2x plus 2. He's just gonna be 2 years more as well. So that product should equal to the square of Jim's present age, which is Jim's age at the moment. That's his present age. So it's going to be square of x plus 5 squared. So same FOIL method again. So we're going to go x times 2x, then x times 2, then 2 times 2x, then 2 times 2. So let's go. X times 2x gives us 2x squared. X times 2 gives us 2x. 2 times 2x gives us 4x. 2 times 2 gives us positive 4. Over here, now when we square in, we're multiplying by itself. There is a formula which is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If you don't remember it, then we can expand it. X plus 5 squared. Whoops. 5 squared just means x plus 5 times x plus 5. Square means you multiply by itself. X times x is x squared. And x times 5 is 5x. 5 times x is also 5x. And 5 times 5 is 25. If we simplify, we're going to get x squared plus 10x plus 25. So this is x squared plus 10x plus 25. Now we simplify, grouping like terms over here, so we can group them. So we got 2x squared. Now we can bring over this x squared from our right. It's going to become minus x squared. Here, 2x plus 4x is positive 6x. Now we can group it with this 10x on our right, which is going to give us negative 10x. And then we have our positive 4. We can group it with our 25, which is going to be negative 25 when we bring it over, equals 0. Now 2x squared minus x squared is just going to give us x squared. 6x minus 10x is minus 4x. 4 minus 25 is negative 21 is equal to 0. And we have proven it. So we can see here it has been proven. So there we are. It says x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Oh, no, it says it's not finished. Calculate Alice's present age. Alright, so in order to do so, we would need to find the value of x. So we'll have to solve this one, and let's see if we can use our AC method. So a would have, in this case, would have been 1. The reason is, remember, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. There's the coefficient of the x squared term is 1, because 1 times something is itself. So 1 times negative 21 is negative 21. So AC is negative 21. Factors of negative 21 that when we add them gives us negative 4 would have been negative 7 times 3 gives us negative 21. And when you add them, negative 7 plus 3 gives you negative 4. So we're replacing negative 7x plus 3x for negative 4x. So let's do that. So we're going to do it over here. So we're going to have x squared minus 7x plus 3x minus 21 is equal to 0. Can factor using x here. It's going to give us x squared minus 7. And here we're going to use positive 3. 3 into 3x is going to leave us with x. 3 into negative 21 is going to be negative 7. So both of our brackets now are identical. So we factor again using this time x minus 7. So x minus 7 is going to cancel and leave us with x, open bracket, and the same over here, leave us with positive 3 equals 0. So now we're going to equate both brackets to 0. So we're going to have x minus 7 equals 0. Therefore, x is equal to 7, or, because x cannot have two values in this situation, so we're going to, or, it's possible. So let's see, x plus 3 equals 0, x equal negative 3. This is not possible because she cannot be negative years old. And remember, initially she was x years old, but it says present, she's now x plus 2. So we can go and say, therefore, Ali's present age is equal to 7 plus 2, which gives us 9. So she's 9 years old at this moment. Okay, so our next question is, show that x over x minus 1 minus 4x equals 4 times 4x minus 3 divided by 1 minus x. So the only thing is changing is just our numerator, right? There's a product, so it means that we're going to multiply at some point. It's actually factoring. But our denominator, we combine to have one denominator. So let's go. So in order to make minus the 4x have the same denominator, then we need to multiply both our numerator and denominator by the same thing. It's just like if we want to turn 1/3 to make a denominator. Let's say 12, we multiply both numerator by 4, and that gives us 4 over 12. So 4 over 12 is an equivalent fraction for 1/3, so it's equal. So same situation. So we're going to have x over 1 minus x minus 4x over 1, and we're going to multiply it by 1 minus x. Reason, because we want both of them to have the same denominator, over 1 minus x. Alright, so we're focusing on that side because it should equal the next side. So now we're going to have x over 1 minus x minus, now we can multiply, which is 4 times 1 is 4x, And 4 times minus x is minus 4x squared, I should say minus 4x squared, all over 1 minus x. Now the denominators are the same, so we can subtract numerators. So we're going to have x minus 4x, and it's going to be minus negative 4x squared, going to be positive 4x squared, which over 1 minus x. Simplify and put the one with the highest power first. It's going to be 4x squared. Let's write it a little better. 4x squared minus 3x over 1 minus x. And finally, we can factor numerator, factor out x, which now this is going to leave. Let's put it over here. 4 into 4x is not 4x, I should say, using x. So x into 4x squared is going to go 4x, and x into minus 3x is going to be minus 3 over 1 minus x. So it has been proven that it equates, both sides are equal. So we've simplified our left hand side to make it equal to our equal to our right hand side. I don't know if I'm catching a cold or something. Next thing here says hence solve. So we've already simplified it and it's asking us to solve it. So we can just equate what we have so far to 0. So let's have right here. So we're just going to go with x times 4x minus 3 over 1 minus x equals 0. So all we have to do here is multiply both sides by 1 minus x to cancel our denominator by 1 minus x, which is the 1 minus x going to cancel each other on our left hand side to leave us with x times 4x minus 3 equals 0. So now we equate both factors to 0. So first one is x equals 0, and got 4x minus 3 equals 0. Bring over the minus 3 becomes positive, so we have 4x is equal to positive 3. And then now we divide both sides by 4, which leaves that x is equal to 3/4 or 0.75. So just can leave it as a fraction. So that's our solution, x. So therefore x is equal to 0 and 3/4. My next question says, make v the subject of the formula p equals square root 5 plus v times t. So again, we need to isolate v. First, we have to get rid of the square root. We cannot do anything to the terms underneath the square root if we don't first eliminate the square root. And the opposite of a square root is squared, so we need to first square both sides. So that's going to leave us with p squared is equal to 5 plus vt. Then we need to minus 5 from both sides, so p squared minus 5 is going to equal vt. Vt means v times t. The opposite of times is divide, so divide both sides by t. So now we're going to have p squared minus 5 over t is equal to v. So we now have v by itself. So we've solved it. And if you want, you can always switch and put v is equal to p squared minus 5 over t. And our final question for today says, the distance needed to stop a car d varies directly as the square of the speed s at which it is traveling. A car traveling at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour requires a distance of 40 meters to make a stop. What distance is required to stop a car traveling at 80 kilometers per hour? We can use ratio method to solve it. I'm going to actually do both. So we can use ratio method. That's good. And we can also use the the equation way to solve it. The equation we're going to take a little longer. The ratio will be quicker. So the ratio is directly proportional d to s, directly proportional. So we can say d to s when the distance is 40, the speed is 70, and when the distance, when we don't know the distance, so let's say x, for example, the speed is 80. So now all the time we're gonna, let's make on our left the numerator, let's start with the numerator. So we're gonna have the fraction this way with x on numerator, so it's gonna be x over 40 is equal to 80 over 70, and to get x by itself we just multiply both sides by 40. So therefore x is equal to, we have 80 times 40 divided by 70, and it's 45.7 meters to 3 significant figures, 3SF. Now as the equation, we know it would be d is directly proportional to s, which means that d is equal to ks, and they tell us that when s is 70, d is 40, so it'll be 40 is equal to k times 70, divide both sides by 70. This would give us what k is, so k would be 4 over 7. That's what k is. So therefore the distance d, equation would be 4 over 7s, which would be 4 over 7 times the 80, and this again would be 45.7 meters. So both ways we get the same answer, whichever way you're more comfortable with, and there's also other ways to do it as well. So whichever way you're more comfortable with, go ahead and approach it. As long as your procedures are logical, you're good to go. So you've come to the end of our video. Again, if it is your first time here, you may like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon so that you can be notified whenever I upload new videos. Comment in the comment section. You can communicate with me in the comment section as well, because I do have classes from time to time. So you can communicate, I reach out to you, and we can take it from there.